Hello, welcome back to How About That Crypto. You are watching your daily crypto news and updates with your host, Bitcoin Stylist on Twitter and Bitcoin Hairstylist on Instagram. I am here Monday through Friday, and I explain crypto and Web3 while keeping you up to date on all the latest. Today's news stories are: Tesla teams up with Jack Dorsey's Block, formerly known as Square, and Blockstream to prove that Bitcoin mining can build America's green energy sector. New York Supreme Court dismisses a petition against a crypto mining company, and we have Ripple Labs versus SEC update. What does all this mean? Not to worry, I'll explain it all. But first, if you like or don't like the content, please let me know by leaving a comment below. If you're listening on podcast, please give me 5 stars and follow me. If you're watching on YouTube, please smash the subscribe button, ring the bell. It helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. And just to be clear and litigious, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. You can use the links below to do your own research. My prayers continue to go out to the Ukrainian people and all those affected by this war. Hopefully this is over sooner than later. Unfortunately, it does not like that will be the case. So keep praying. Now, I have an announcement I make every single episode. If you find yourself listening and feeling like you do not know what I'm talking about, please leave a comment below. Please don't just turn it off and be like, I don't get it. Also, I also recommend you just try to keep listening. I make these videos with the intention of layering on top of each other. I always explain the context so you can start to learn and pick up on the different types of technologies. After a week or two of listening daily, you should have a better understanding. If you don't, please reach out to me. You can send me a private message on Twitter at Bitcoin Stylist or leave a comment below. The link to my Twitter is below. All right. If you've been listening to my channel, you already know that I believe that Bitcoin mining is what will bootstrap America's green energy sector. Bitcoin mining is actually called proof of work mining. This is the energy intensive process of securing the network from attacks and processing transactions. It was designed to grow the computational power needed as the network got bigger and more miners came online. This is so that no one entity can take over the network and steal your money or fake transactions. I have discussed many times the benefits of having an energy consumer with 24/7 demand and with only a need for low bandwidth internet connection. The theory goes like this. Imagine a solar company and a Bitcoin mining company, all right? And the Bitcoin mining company goes, hey, solar company, build a solar farm in the middle of nowhere. Why? Asks the solar company. I won't have any customers. Well, says the Bitcoin mining company, what if I told you that after the first solar panel that goes up, I could start paying you immediately? So the solar company says, wow, really? Usually I have to have a certain amount of solar panels to have enough energy to make money. And then the Bitcoin mining company says, well, not anymore. I could start paying you immediately. Once you have enough energy production to incentivize the local utility companies to build their lines, then you can provide that energy to towns and cities. Yes, I am saying that Bitcoin mining, the high energy consumer that is the pariah in the environmental conversation, with ESG becoming such a big thing with investing and even regulations pushing for companies to be more friendly to society and the environment, the first announcement of the high energy consumption of Bitcoin mining created a ton of anti-Bitcoin FUD by environmentalists. It turns out this technology may be exactly what we need as a nation and as a planet, but don't take my word for it. All right, I want to show you something, and if you're listening on podcast, the links are below, or you could just follow along because I'm explaining it all. All right. Author Mackenzie Sigalos reports for CNBC, Tesla, Block, and Blockstream team up to mine Bitcoin off solar power in Texas. It says Blockstream and Jack Dorsey's Block, formerly Square, are breaking ground on a solar and battery powered Bitcoin mine in Texas using solar and storage technology from Tesla. Tesla's 3.8 megawatt solar PV array and 12 megawatt hour megapack will power the facility. All right, let me just do something real quick. I'm going to change it so you can hear the sound. I want to play you this video. All right, listen to this.
An update on the partnership between Blockstream and Block, formerly Square, for a solar and battery powered mining facility actually located in Texas. And so the new news is that the project's at a more advanced stage, and we're able to share that the power infrastructure is being built by Tesla, including the battery parts coming from Tesla's Megapack. This is a relatively small one, so it's a $12 million facility, including all costs, miners, the power infrastructure. That's funded 50-50 by Blockstream and Block, formerly Square. And it's a pilot project, so what we're going to do unusually is open source all the information about it, the financials, the metrics, a real-time dashboard of how many Bitcoins it's mined, the hash rate, that kind of thing, so that people will like to debate about different factors to do with Bitcoin mining, but we figured, well, let's just prove it, have an open dashboard so people can play along. Maybe it can inform other players to participate. And it also proved, we're interested to prove out our thesis that Bitcoin mining can help fund green power infrastructure. It's adjacent to some wind power, and we have also some megawatts of, a lot of megawatts of grid power, primarily wind there. But the solar and battery Megapack installation is actually off-grid, just to prove it works in isolation, basically, and then scale it from there. And to your point about the funding, I think the point is that with power infrastructure, typically a lot of the power that is generated is not used. Like a town or industrial use, they'll typically build to 2 times over capacity to deal with peak demands. And so the solar can provide, the Bitcoin mining can provide a steady customer and greatly improve the finance of the project. And of course, this project is actually off-grid, so it shows that you can do that anywhere without local infrastructure as well.
All right, so I guess we can just stop now. I mean, he pretty much explained it all and said what I've been saying, so it's about time. Pretty much explains and reinforced what I've been saying. However, this proves only that this theory is not just mine. I do not take credit for the theory, and I never have. I only understand it and believe it to make a lot of sense. One of my clients pointed out that the biggest flaw in this idea is if Bitcoin does not keep its price and continues to increase, then the Bitcoin miners will have to go offline and they won't have incentive to run those operations. We currently have a handful of publicly traded companies with a $500 million valuation, so I don't think these companies, these Bitcoin mining companies, are going anywhere. Now, this article explains what the guy in the video was talking about. Check this out. CEO of Blockstream, one second. CEO of Blockstream, a Bitcoin infrastructure company, that's who that guy was, said in the interview, people like to debate about the different factors to do with Bitcoin mining. We figured, let's just prove it. Have an open dashboard so people can play along. Maybe it can inform other players to participate. The dashboard will be publicly accessible and show real-time metrics of the project's performance, including power output and total Bitcoin mined. The company said a later version of the dashboard will also include solar and storage performance data points. This is a step to proving our thesis that Bitcoin mining can fund zero-emission power infrastructure and build economic growth for the future. I think this is so crazy for me because I've been preaching this sermon for months now. All my viewers and listeners, friends, family, and clients, they all have heard it. The big question is why isn't anyone doing it? And I'm like, I don't know. But now someone is doing it to prove a point. So Block, which is Square, which is the company that if you come into the salon to get a haircut and you swipe the card, it goes through the Square portal, and that is a payment processing solution. So it's a big company, and Blockstream is a Bitcoin infrastructure company. So according to this author, West Texas is the mecca of, So my point is Block and Blockstream have teamed up 50-50 funding, and they're using Tesla's solar panels and it says uses solar and storage technology from Tesla. So, according to this author, West Texas is the mecca of renewable energy in the U.S. This is due to the perfect overlap with both sun quality and wind speed. Unfortunately, the majority of this energy is in remote parts of the state. Remember what I said earlier about building in the middle of nowhere? There is no financial incentive for producers. There is now. This project will be collecting solar energy during the day and charging the Megapack battery for nighttime use. Wind would help to reduce costs and balance out the downtime with solar at night. So check this out. This is at the end of this article. By collaborating on this full stack, meaning solar, battery, and wind, 100% solar power Bitcoin mining project with Blockstream using solar and storage technology from Tesla, we aim to further accelerate Bitcoin's synergy with renewables, said Neil Jorgensen, global ESG lead at Block and project lead for Block's Bitcoin Clean Energy Initiative. What do you all think about this? I think that this is awesome. I'm so happy to see somebody is doing this to prove this thesis. You know, we could find that the costs just don't make any sense. However, that would not stop anybody from starting a nonprofit. It doesn't have to necessarily be a for-profit operation to get this whole thing started, although that probably won't happen. So hopefully that this thesis, hopefully this project proves the theory that Bitcoin can bootstrap America's green energy sector. And, you know, we do need prices to be stable at minimum and continue to go up, because over the course of time, the Bitcoin miners, their reward for processing these transactions and all this computational power, it gets cut in half about every 4 years. They do have about over 100 years left between now and until the last Bitcoin is mined. But because the rewards are cutting in half every 3 to 4 years, that means that the price needs to continue to climb in order to keep the incentives there. So that's the biggest downside to this whole concept. So let's see just how much profit they can make. If it's enough profit, if it's big enough profit, then the concern about the halving is less, but it's still there. What are your thoughts about this? Please leave a comment below. I want to hear from you, and I am moving on. All right. Author David Atlee reports for Cointelegraph, New York State Supreme Court dismisses petition against crypto mining company. The judge ruled that the petition lacked merit as he didn't find proof of the environmental harm. This is super relevant to the previous news piece I just reported on. There is a backstory here you should know about. There are a bunch of environmental groups in New York State that have been fighting against proof of work mining, which is the mining that we just discussed previously, due to its energy intensive consumption. Check this piece out from this article. According to an April 7th press release by Greenidge, Judge Daniel Doyle dismissed a petition against Greenidge Generation Holdings brought by a group of environmental organizations. Wait a minute. Okay. Let's just clarify. Greenidge must be the company that is the Bitcoin mining company. So let's read this again. According to an April 7th press release by Greenidge, Judge Daniel Doyle dismissed a petition against Greenidge Generation Holdings brought by a group of environmental organizations, Sierra Club, Seneca Lake Guardian, and the Committee to Preserve the Finger Lakes, as well as a number of individuals, in an attempt to stop the mining operation at Seneca Lake. Now, the downside of all of this specifically, that this specific operation is using gas power to mine Bitcoin. Could there be a way to mandate the type of energy being used? I don't see how that could be a thing unless, of course, the mandate applies to all businesses everywhere, or maybe new businesses. This could turn into a nightmare for someone who wanted to, say, open a hair salon. And this, because then they wouldn't be able to use any power unless it's green. And then, you know, that's just an extra layer of preventing people from starting businesses and creating jobs and helping society in general. However, you know, helping society by making sure we're using green energy and not burning fossil fuels is also important. So how do you balance that? This could turn into a nightmare for someone who wanted to start a small business, but this is a complex issue as these mining companies are buying machines, plugging them in. That's it. They're not pumping oil and gas from the ground. They're just opening a business and competing with other mining companies around the world. They are doing what all of the businesses do. How do we get Bitcoin miners in the USA to only use renewables? They should just be doing it anyway, in my opinion, but they're not. They are a business with inputs and outputs and competition. They will have to reduce their costs to compete. Green energy is low cost. It's still lower cost based on my current information and understanding than burning fossil fuels. So we'll see what happens with the above the first story that I reported on. What are your thoughts about all of this? Do you have anything you'd like to add, or questions you'd like to ask, or points you'd like to make? Please leave a comment below, and moving on. All right. Our last story of the day is an update on the Ripple Labs versus SEC. If you've been watching or listening, you would know that Ripple Labs created the XRP coin, and the SEC has said it is the same thing as issuing stock. Therefore, the SEC is suing them for not registering it. The SEC regulates all stocks. Just for you those aren't familiar, let's just leave it at that. And they're saying that XRP coin is not cash. It's not a currency. It's like issuing stock. This case is thought to be precedent setting. If the SEC loses, then that could grandfather all other altcoins in as securities and make the SEC's job of regulating them very difficult, if not impossible, at least the ones that are currently open. So this could be a big positive for the industry. However, if the SEC wins, that means that all the other cryptos could be on the chopping block, and prices, in my opinion, would tank. Not financial advice. That's how the theory goes anyways. Author Ashish reports for CoinGate. It says Ashish Kumar. Author Ashish Kumar reports for CoinGate. And the title of this article is SEC has gone too far. Ripple hits back at regulator. All allegations against Ripple executives have been denied. And check this out. I'm going to read from this article here. Ripple's response also denied relief to the SEC regarding judgment or any other consolation. Garlinghouse and Larson, those are the two executives being sued here, appealed to the court to dismiss the action and give judgment in favor of the accused. Interestingly, the response filed by Garlinghouse mentions that the SEC is seeking after-the-fact litigation. It pointed out that the commission has failed to grab this case by deliberative guidance and rulemaking. The defendant said that the SEC is trying to send a regulatory message to the market. Garlinghouse alleged that the regulator is trying to create a new standard on how digital assets will be controlled in the country, a move in which the SEC has gone too far. So it says down here, the reply tried to focus on how the commission is seeking to apply its own control, and that to a newly developed field without offering any clear guidance. So basically they're saying, look, you can't just like sue us to make a point, to make a law or make a rule. Why don't you make the rule and tell the industry how give the industry clarity on what the rules are, instead of just suing me to make a point. And says it also mentions that SEC is just attempting to gain a litigated victory with the support of unclear regulations. This is the definition of enforcement through what is the regulation through enforcement. Instead of creating rules and giving clarity to the industry, sue somebody to send the industry a message, but not because you have rules that are clear and someone breaks them. It's because you don't have clear enough rules on something that does not fit perfectly into existing rules. At least that's what the industry is making. That is what the industry is saying. The SEC is trying to say, no, we have clear rules. And that's why we're suing. So what are your thoughts about this? Do you think that this is a big deal or not? Or do you think this is just more information to keep you updated? Either way, this is the news for today. Please leave a comment below. Give me your thoughts. I'd like to hear from you. If you're listening on podcast, please give me 5 stars and follow me. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, help support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. Have a good day. HODL on.